When you think of India's legendary warriors, there's one name that just shines, a true symbol of leadership, wit, and just an unbreakable spirit, Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. You might know him as Sam Bahadur, and his story? Well, it's more than just about winning battles. It's about how one person's character can literally shape the destiny of a nation. Okay, let's dive into this. And this quote? Man, it just says it all, right from the start. You immediately get a sense of who this guy was. It's that perfect mix of razor-sharp wit and this deep, profound respect for his soldiers. That blend of humor and honor, that's what defined him. So we're going to unpack how his life basically became a masterclass in leadership, all leading up to one of the most incredible military victories in modern history. But, legends aren't just born overnight, they're forged. So let's go back to the beginning and see what experiences shaped a young Sam Manekshaw into the powerhouse leader he would become. What's so amazing about Manekshaw's journey is that he was there from the very beginning of the modern Indian Army. He was part of the first ever batch at the Indian Military Academy. He was a foundational figure. Then he gets thrown into the crucible of World War II, which really prepares him for this enormous task of building the military of a brand new independent India in 1947. Now, get a load of this number, 9. That's how many bullets he took during a single fight in World War II. 9. I mean, the fact that he survived is frankly a miracle, and it's one of the first signs of his incredible courage under fire. And this right here, this just shows his spirit perfectly. So, his commanding officer finds him, critically wounded, and asks what happened. Manekshaw's response? A simple, almost funny, "I got hit, sir." Even staring death in the face, his wit was right there with him. His officer was so sure he wouldn't make it, he pinned a medal on him right there on the battlefield, saying a dead man couldn't be awarded one later. Incredible. So you have this amazing combination of grit and wit, and that's really gonna define his whole career. And trust me, he was gonna need every bit of it when he faced his biggest test, the massive crisis of 1971. You have to picture this. The situation was absolutely dire. Millions upon millions of refugees were fleeing horrific oppression in what was then East Pakistan. They were flooding into India, and the strain, humanitarian, economic, you name it, was becoming unbearable. The pressure to do something was at a boiling point. And this all leads to one pivotal moment. Picture a tense cabinet meeting. The Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi, turns to her army chief, Sam Manekshaw, and asks him straight up, "Are we ready for war?" I mean, the fate of millions of people is hanging on his answer. His response has become absolutely legendary for its pure, brutal honesty. Under all that pressure, he didn't give the easy answer. He gave the right one. He said, "Go to war now, I guarantee a defeat. But if you give me time, I'll guarantee a victory." That takes incredible courage. He just flat out refused to risk his soldiers' lives without being properly prepared. And boy, did he make good on his word. The next few months were just a masterclass in strategic planning. He knew victory wasn't just about throwing men at the problem. It was about waiting for the monsoon season to end so they wouldn't be fighting in flooded rivers. It was about training his troops for the specific, difficult terrain of East Pakistan. And crucially, it was about coordinating the Army, Navy, and Air Force so they moved as one single, unified force. This wasn't just bravery. This was a brilliant blueprint for victory. So, with all the preparations complete, the time finally came. The 1971 Indo-Pak War began, and Manekshaw's incredible plan was set in motion. And the result? It was just astonishing. The war was over in 13 days. Just 13. This wasn't just a win. It was one of the fastest, most decisive military campaigns in modern history. And it was all because of that patient, brilliant planning. And if you think that's impressive, get this. Over 90,000 Pakistani soldiers surrendered. Let that sink in. It was the largest military surrender anywhere in the world since World War II. Just staggering. So, on December 16, 1971, the war ended. And the result changed the map forever. The independent nation of Bangladesh was born. It was a historic moment, and India really stood tall on the world stage. But see, Manekshaw's impact is so much bigger than just this one incredible victory. Let's talk about the lasting legacy of the man who became a true national hero. The greatest honors often come from the people right there beside you. It was his own soldiers who gave him that famous nickname Sam Bahadur, which means Sam the Brave. It wasn't some official title. It was a sign of the deep respect and love they had for his calm, inspiring leadership. Of course, the nation recognized his service in a huge way. In 1973, he was promoted to Field Marshal. This is the absolute highest rank you can achieve in the Indian Army, and he was the very first officer in India's history to get it. A totally unique honor for a totally unique leader. If you wanted to boil down his entire leadership philosophy into just one sentence, this is it. For him, leadership wasn't about barking orders. It was about the power of example. It was about never asking someone to make a sacrifice you weren't willing to make yourself. So, when we talk about the spirit of Sam Bahadur, what are we really talking about? We're talking about this powerful mix. He was fearless, yeah, but he was also disciplined. He won with strategic wisdom, not just brute force. And maybe most importantly, he was a humane and compassionate leader who always led from the front. Which kind of leaves us with this one big question, right? The story of Sam Manek Shah, a soldier who could literally smile after taking 9 bullets, and a general who won a war with his brain, it really forces us to ask, can one person's character, their courage, their conviction, can that really change the destiny of a nation? His life seems to suggest the answer is a huge, resounding yes.